Welcome to the Homebrew Crew. I'm Tony, this is Sean, and as always, we're here to make your D&D homebrew campaigns the best that they can possibly be. Today we're going to be doing another DM Pow-Wow, just me and my buddy Sean here. Sean, you had one for us today, didn't you?
Sure do. This is a powwow to help me, really. And it's a problem that I've had before, but I feel like it's been a little bit more of an issue lately. I had a session with one of my two groups this past weekend. And there was a point where someone was blasting, music. I had one of my roommates on the TV, and then someone went over to watch what was going on in the TV. Someone else was on their phone, and then two other people were having a completely different conversation. I pretty much had one person's attention on me the whole time. And it was chaos. It was frustrating. I was hungry. That didn't help. And, you get into this moment, and I'm sure as a DM, this may have happened in your campaign where your players are distracted.
Yeah, that's happened a lot, actually. In fact, sometimes you sit at the table, and I can tell you one of the most frustrating things is exactly that, is when you're sitting there and you're trying to roll in. A lot of times for me, when I'm the DM at it, it happens while I am rolling dice. So let's say the DM is sitting there and he has to, okay, we've got 5 monsters on the board, they're all attacking, and I have to sit there and roll, and everybody gets on their phones or they're checking out something. And I'm not talking about using D&D Beyond, which, by the way, shameless plug, great thing.
Awesome.
But I am talking about browsing YouTube or looking up information on something completely different.
Yeah,
or some
on Facebook, playing a game.
Oh, we get a lot of phone games and everything else like that. There's a couple of ways that I've dealt with this. One of which is if you were distracted and you're not paying attention, you just kind of point out to the player. You mention, first thing is to mention it to them afterwards. You don't want to be a dick in the middle of the actual game with it and get mad at them. I've gotten mad before. I've sat there and I've lost my cool and said, well, you know what? If you guys don't want to play, don't even come.
It happens.
Not a good thing to do because your players are the thing that's the reason why you're there.
Yes.
I have talked to players afterwards. That's the way to do it. You pull them aside after and go, listen, as we're playing, it would be nice if you weren't on your phone. Look, I get it. There's some interesting stuff up there. Or, if the girlfriend is there and you need to communicate something or what have you. I'll be home later or whatever. But in the middle of the game during someone else's turn, and I always pose it to the players like that and I say, listen, you like doing cool stuff with your character, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. And you like when you line up a good spell and you line up some really neat stuff and you want to see the reaction that it causes on the monster. The other players are doing that too. So just as much as you want to be cool with it, they want to share in that moment too, and they want to be cool. So part of that is being there as a group and listening to what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's definitely a degree of respect that has to be understood between the players and the DM, and then the players and the other players as well. I mean, I've had moments where I've had players go into a dialogue and emotional moments, and everyone's having a conversation, and I can't hear anything.
Right,
it's frustrating.
That's not fair for us either. I mean, there was a couple times at a campaign that a buddy of mine runs that I was in that I actually had to get up and move to the other side of the table next to the DM so I can hear what the heck is going on because there's side conversations, and I don't, as a player, you don't really have a lot of power either. But at the same time, it's kind of like could you just maybe keep it down a little bit so that we can keep this going and what have you and pay attention to it. Another thing that I've used to handle that, which is kind of on the second or third warning at that point, is we're having a conversation, we're doing a battle or what have you, and let's say Sean's not paying attention. Sean, go over there, just pay attention. And he's on his phone or whatever, and hey, Sean, take 10 damage.
What?
Oh yeah, the monster came out of nowhere, hit you in the back on that thing. It was undefendable, so take 10 damage. Now,
we weren't even playing, and I feel hurt.
It's a horrible thing to do, but at the same time, look, if you've talked to a person 3 or 4 times already about it, and they're still constantly on their phone, they're still moving on, and they're not part of that campaign, that part of that game, you really don't want to cause a problem with it. But if you do something that affects their character, maybe not as drastic as take 10 damage or anything like that, but if you do something that affects their character, like next time they're not paying attention, have the monster attack them, or just throw a simple check out to them. Hey, Sean, make a wisdom save.
And
now
now
all of a
I'm
sudden,
scrambling for dice.
You're back in,
Yeah.
and we're back in the room. But that's basically it. You know, you got to find ways to pull them back in with that, and of course, mention it to them afterwards. It's not a big deal, but you know, just keep mentioning to them. And if they get to be really bad, just have that conversation. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe
because
we're
sometimes
gonna have to part ways. Maybe it's better if you don't
right,
come to the table
and
anymore.
easily one player can kind of spoil the lot.
Yeah.
And you know, especially when you're running a campaign and you see people getting distracted, not paying attention, it's very easy for it to get to your mind. You feel discouraged and you feel frustrated, and then everything kind of, you know, if you're not in a good mood, your campaign's not going to be good.
You know, another thing that comes up, and a lot of things that happen with that too, is that if you, and I've seen it happen to me, and I feel the same way, that DM discouragement like that, like, the one thing you got to remember as a DM is you're putting all this extra effort into making this thing fun for them. You're the one who stays up at night and writes the story and the dialogue and the characters and what weapons are going to drop and what monsters are going to fight and all these great things. And you're the one sitting there painting all the dots on top of the mushrooms and all that stuff, or making the monsters and everything else and painting them. You're the one that's doing all that. It's very easy to fall into a thing where you don't feel appreciated as a DM because people aren't paying attention. And a lot of that happens too when somebody is not showing up for the campaign or is...
Last minute cancellations can be, you know, and I've seen that come up in a lot of forums as well, people canceling, but which is a whole other topic on its own.
We'll get to that one.
But, you know... Even when you're able to get everyone there, it might even hurt more because you got them there and they're not there for the game.
Playing.
Yeah, they've made it all the way there. They're ready to play, and then they're not enjoying and being part of your world, which is really, you know, important. And you know, you have to kind of grab the reins of your campaign. We've said this in a couple videos before, but you really have to show that you're in control.
Yeah, and it's, you know, the thing is with it being disheartening and all that stuff, whatever, you're not trying to be, you know, a downer or anything like that, but you do put a lot of effort into it. And the 90% of the joy of being a DM or a GM, whichever way you're playing, is very simple, that you see the enjoyment in your players, you know? It's not all about you. It really is, are my players having fun, right? And sometimes you get a player that wants to go into a big dialogue or something, and other players don't pay attention. Well, award the player that's there. Award the player that's there with you. And I guarantee you, if they don't react with number one with the talk, or number two with some dice roll to get them paying attention, or anything else with that, they'll definitely start paying attention when you start handing out magic items to the ones that are paying attention.
Yes. Players are bloodthirsty for that kind of stuff. So if you have
gold
to,
and Coralanthus, that's totally different thing. But I hope that helps a little bit. Does it?
Yeah, I would say so.
You feel a little better?
I would say so. And hopefully you guys watching who have maybe encountered this problem or were frantically searching the internet for this kind of issue, you're not alone. It happens a lot, and it happens way more often than you think.
Absolutely. And if you have any questions or anything that you'd like us to answer, or a situation that you've come across before that you're not sure how to handle, or you just want another opinion on something that you think is the right thing to do, just go ahead and message us, email us. The email address is DMBrewCrew@gmail.com. That's right there in the description below. Be sure to like, subscribe. That should be right about
Hopefully it's right there, yeah.
And just remember, the best campaigns are always the ones that are homebrewed. So until next time, keep brewing.